All right, well, Newt Gingrich cleaned up in South Carolina, garnering 40% of the votes. Our next guest, though, still has her money on Mitt.
Joining us now is New York Times bestseller and columnist Ann Coulter. Hi, Ann.
Hello. Welcome.
How do you explain what happened last night in South Carolina?
Apparently South Carolinians would rather have the emotional satisfaction of a snotty remark toward the president than to beat Obama in the fall. We saw it in the debates when Gingrich would say things that didn't really make sense. It's what you usually associate with Democrats, as described in my last book, Demonic, and how mobs behave. Something that sounds like it makes sense, like Mitt Romney says he doesn't have influence over his super PAC. It makes you wonder if he'll have influence as president. How many times does Mitt Romney have to say it's illegal for a candidate to have influence on the super PAC? It is not, interestingly, though, illegal for a president to have influence. So it makes no sense if you think about it for all of 3 seconds, but it sounds like it makes sense. It's just like what you get from liberals most of the time, and the cheers and the yahoos,
so they went for
and that's what we kept getting from this audience.
But you can acknowledge, Ann, you're supporting Mitt Romney. You can acknowledge he did not handle questions about his taxes. He did not handle questions about paying capital very well. He did say to Chris Wallace this morning he is releasing the last 2 years of tax returns on Tuesday. You talked about that visceral reaction. Doesn't Romney need to show some more fire in the belly that we've seen from Newt Gingrich?
No, he's doing fine. This is not going to be the electorate in the fall. I am pretty sure we're going to get everyone who voted for McCain, since no one voted for McCain because we liked McCain. It was to stop Obama. We have those voters. Now you have to get people who voted for Obama. And having, a candidate who goes out and calls Obama a Kenyan colonialist or a socialist, that's not what you need. And at the same time, with Newt Gingrich, you get the name calling for the president, very popular with the Tea Party crowd in South Carolina, not so popular with independents, but he won't put a fence on the border, but he wants amnesty for illegals, but he took $1.6 million from Freddie Mac, but he attacked Paul Ryan's plan on Social Security. So, with Newt Gingrich, you throw out the baby and keep the bathwater.
So is he stealing a page, perhaps, some would argue, from Michelle Bachmann's playbook earlier in this campaign?
She was conservative. Newt Gingrich is the least conservative of these candidates and the least electable. Fantastic. But the South Carolina audience loves when he yells at John King for making a perfectly legitimate opening question here. I mean, the question about his ex-wife, one of three, had just been on TV, or was going on TV that night, to claim that Newt Gingrich wanted an open marriage. I don't care who you are. We are talking about someone running for president of the United States. Of course that needs to be asked. John King is a completely fair reporter, an honorable reporter. He isn't going to leave the question hanging out through the whole debate. And Newt Gingrich goes back to the well of attacking the media. And I resent that because the liberal media is a real thing.
It worked for him, right? This attacking the media.
Audience,
Dick Morris said that wasn't why he went up in the polls.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I think that's crazy.
Do you think that's why he won South Carolina?
I mean, if people are snowed by Newt Gingrich calling himself the most conservative, despite the fact that's demonstrably false, but they don't want to spend 3 seconds reading about what his positions are. They just want to hear him call Obama socialist. If what they want is the more conservative candidate, at least go for Santorum. Don't go for the guy who took $1.6 million from Freddie Mac and calls Paul Ryan's plan to reform Social Security right-wing social engineering.
You brought up the second wife issue, so we'll talk about that for a second, because I'm curious. The exit polls showed that Newt Gingrich did really, really well among married women in South Carolina. And
evangelicals.
So was that issue that didn't bother them at all in South Carolina going forward? Does it matter to them in Florida?
I think South Carolina is going back to its Democratic roots. I mean, to not care about that, that's the position of the Democratic Party. The arguments I hear on behalf of Gingrich on this, it's what we heard for 2 solid years about Bill Clinton. I never thought I would hear conservatives make those arguments. I promise you, if Mitt Romney or Rick Santorum had cheated on 2 wives, I mean, that we know. The open marriage thing is the only thing he contests. We know he cheated on 2 wives. I wouldn't be supporting Mitt Romney. I wouldn't support Rick Santorum.
Well, you are supporting Mitt Romney, and you think that this was a blip and he will get past this.
I hope so, because this Republicans aren't a mob. You're not supposed to just go for the guy with the glib, cheap shot. This is the most important election of our lifetimes. There's no question about that. We could be watching the decline of America. I don't think that will happen. Mitt Romney still has the most delegates.
Tell us how you really feel, Ann.
He still has the most votes.
You really need to come out of your shell.
And drink some coffee. And great to have you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.